Today we are going to learn how we can create LR0 parsing table. How we can create LR0 parsing table. So for the construction of LR0 parsing table, what is required? We required two functions. Two functions are required. Now these are two functions. The functions are closer function and Goto function. These are two functions which are required. So what they are, suppose we have this grammar s tends to a tends to a oblique b. So what the first thing we need to do, suppose we have this grammar, then first we need to convert it into the augmented grammar. First we need to convert it into the augmented grammar. So what is the augmented grammar? Just put a dash on that grammar, and before that s dash tends to s. That's it, nothing else. After that, same as it is. Then s tends to a tends to a oblique b. This is called augmented grammar. Now let's see, as we are discussing here LR0 parsing table. So what are the LR0 item? Suppose we have this production s tends to a. For that production we are seeing the LR0 item. So how can be like they can be like s tends to dot a, s tends to a dot a, s tends to a dot. So these all are called LR0 item, or or we can say the reduce LR0 item, or complete LR0, or complete LR0 item, or final LR0 item. For those LR0 item, we can say reduce LR0 item, complete LR0 item, or final LR0 item. Now the important thing is that the closer function, the closer function is applicable only for LR0 item. The closer function is applicable only for LR0 item. These are the LR0 item. So how to calculate? Let's understand the closer. So because we have this augmented grammar, first s tends to, we'll put dot. So what are the steps? The first step we can say write augmented grammar, as we have done here. Like first we put s dash tends to dot s and put dot before the production. And the second thing, do production of variable after dot from grammar. Production of variable, whatever variable we have, after dot put dot from the grammar. And the third thing, and so on, like that you will go. So suppose we want the closure of s tends to a dot a. Suppose we want closure of this. So how we will calculate? We will calculate like this: s tends to a dot a, that is given. After that tends to what is the variable, so we will put dot aa or dot b. These two production we have a tends to aab, and so like that we will calculate the closure. Just putting the dot after the production, or we can simply say if we want to calculate the closure of I, this is the grammar, and we want to calculate the closure of I. Closure of I means any LR0 item. Any LR0 item. And here we have seen what are LR0 item from that grammar. So for any LR0 item, if we calculate the closure of I, so first what we need to do, we need to add I. Then after that what we need to do, if suppose A tends to B dot C D E, A tends to B dot C D E is I, and C tends to G H I is in G, is in grammar, we can say. Then we will add C tends to dot GHI. We'll put dot as we have done here. We'll put dot. Similar way as we have write here, in the similar way we are doing here. So dot CGI to closure of I. And the third thing, repeat step 2 as we have done here. First write augmented grammar, then do production of variable after dot from grammar, and so on. In the similar way, if you first add I, whatever LR0 item, and put dot accordingly, and repeat at the step. So this is how we can calculate the first item, that is LR0 item. And for Goto, what we need to do, in the similar way, for Goto calculation, like we'll write Goto I X, where I is LR0 item and X is input. So what we need to do, first add I by moving dot after X, and the second thing, add closure like we have done here, add closure. So these are the two steps for Goto: add I by moving after dot X and add closure. So these are the two functions which we are going to use in making LR0 parsing table.